Give it a try.
I appreciate the encouragement.
I was gonna say hit me with it, but that I don't know what.
Tubi and Asylum working together, always a bad time. Welcome to Happy Suffer.
That's a
All
weird
right.
tagline.
It's not a smart decision to market your movie, but I don't know. That's what they did. This was episode 220,
4.
I think, of I Have to
Episode
Suffer.
666.
Yeah. Yeah, way to go, Katie. You could have waited.
Damn.
I'm mad I watched this.
Same.
Okay. I think you guys are exaggerating. It wasn't that bad.
No, I will
No,
say,
it was watchable.
I will say
but-
this. It's probably the best Asylum movie I've seen.
That's not true. You watched
Yeah.
Shark Side of the Moon like last week.
That's true. I also watched that weird Death Race movie with Insane Clown Posse. This is probably the best looking, like, production-wise, I will say.
It does look pretty close to
Yeah.
like a real movie,
But
or at least a
also,
sci-fi movie.
The
Yeah,
minute it
yeah.
turned into, like, Ghost Ship, I was like, God damn it, Katie. Somehow, it's always fucking ghosts.
I assumed you knew that ghost stuff was happening, and at least to my credit, there are real ghosts. There are ghosts in this movie. I've done it, finally.
Yeah, so we're talking about 2022's Titanic 666, a Tubi original from their lucrative deal with Asylum Films to just
Lucrative.
keep making bad garbage movies. So Kit and I were big fans, as you could tell. This is
Oh.
terrible.
I was mostly extremely insulted every time the white lady came on screen and compared
Oh my
them
God.
recovering a fucking violin from a rich white person's shipwreck to people invading fucking ancient burial grounds and just stealing a bunch of stuff.
It's
Like,
so
get
stupid.
the fuck out of here. Are you kidding me? That lady in general was the worst. She's
Yeah.
a terrible actress. Good God.
I don't know. Like, I think more than anything, I just found this wildly boring. 'Cause, like, at least as far as the Asylum movies I've watched, the production value was pretty fine, and like it just looks like essentially like a made for sci-fi kind of level movie. But just like, God, it's so boring, and like by the time you get to the end where the boat's sinking, I was like, I don't care. Let all of these people fucking drown. They're all terrible.
Yeah, I think the issue for me is like this movie. I gave it a 2, which is like whatever. It wasn't the worst. I've done like the idea of it is fine. I thought that the ghosts, like some of the ghosts, looked pretty cool, and except for the mouse thing, which I don't know why. I don't know why movies insist on doing bad CGI stretchy mouth thing. Like, just don't do it if you can't do it right, But I think there was too much like boat stuff, like if you think about
there's a
the
lot
original,
of like you got to know the details of this new Titanic that aren't gonna make a difference.
right? And it's a lot of like following the captain, like now we gotta go here, now we gotta go here, now we gotta go there, and it's like a lot of like control room of the boat stuff, and I'm like, I don't think that was the way to go. I think that is the part of it to me that was like a little bit boring. And also, I more so liked the idea. This was essentially somebody last. I don't know if you remember last week. I was talking about that episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, where the guy plunders like Rex, and then the zombies or ghosts or whatever like come back to like get him or whatever. It was like somebody watched that as a kid and was like, I want to make this a movie, except not good. It was like pretty much the same plot, except for then they were like, oh, let's have this random girl do witchcraft. And I was like, the angle of like them, the boat just getting like haunted because they were, you know, being terrible by like driving to the wreck site of the original Titanic and then like floating above it for a moment of silence, which is very unnecessary. And then the ghost being like, fuck you people, and like coming aboard and killing them. Like, I like that idea. But then they were just like, oh no, we have to just have this girl doing like some kind of ritual thing. And I was like, well, that's not my favorite thing. And then she just was like, I don't know. They focused too much on the act of stealing the, you know, possessions, I think, and then also boat stuff. I'm like, yeah, I don't know who hurt the person who wrote this, but like they're probably not watching the movie to get the point. Do you know what I'm saying?
There's a movie you can make about profiting off of the suffering of others, but I don't think it fucking works with the Titanic.
The Titanic? Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't know.
But
I
there's-
just
I mean,
feel
like
bad
I said-
for all these rich white people that died.
Everyone, God damn it, the violinist that took his violin. God damn it, you don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kept
God damn.
playing. He kept playing as it sank.
I don't know how many times do we have to hear about that in this movie? Like, we get it. We've seen Titanic. We understand.
I have not seen Titanic. Don't spoil
Same.
it for me.
What?
And I won't now. This has retroactively
Wow.
ruined it for me.
Oh my god, I'm shocked.
I was not a teenage girl when that movie
I-
came out, so I had zero interest. And I know
I
the
love
ending.
James Cameron.
I know how
but
it ends.
I can't.
Wow. Well,
If they combine Titanic with The Man in the Iron Mask, I'd be
I
in.
fucking love that movie.
What if they put
All right,
the
let's
mask
do it.
on the Titanic?
Yep. The Titanic is the mask.
what if it was the Terminator on the Titanic?
There are
Titaninator.
Why not?
so many
Titanic.
Titanic movies. Oh
so-
shit!
It's like Amityville.
Titanic.
Is there an Amityville
Literally,
Titanic?
The Titanic. There has to be.
Titanic
The
2000?
Titanic universe.
The luxury liner Titanic 2000 has set sail on its maiden voyage, and one of the passengers is the vampire Vladimina. Vladimina is
I'm
searching
here
for
for
a
that.
woman she can turn into a vampire queen, and a
Yes.
frustrated rock
Yes,
groupie
girl.
Shari looks to be a perfect target. As various
Sick.
people
Okay,
get
yeah, I'm in.
seduced and or killed as the liner continues on its doomed voyage, Shari must choose between eternity as a living dead sex slave or the frigid grave at the bottom of the ocean. Add it
How
to
is
the
that a
watch
choice?
list. Yeah, why would you not want to be a vampire?
I don't know. I need to see that movie.
I had it to my
Okay.
watch list. All I will do it as soon as it hits fucking anything. Nazi Titanic. Oh
Um,
boy.
So yeah, Titanic 666. Not sure why it's called that.
If there was more
But-
Satanism in it, that would be sick.
Yeah, put like a
well,
satanic cult on the fucking ship or something.
Yeah, like also they didn't make it very clear. She was just like saying words and then rubbing her blood on a picture. Like to me, that doesn't really say like it could be.
I can do that.
anything, right?
I can do that at home.
Yeah,
Whatever.
and then I think somebody said something like says the word demon maybe, but like they did not make it very clear that what was going on with this. But so I guess it is a sequel to Titanic 2.
It
And,
has to be.
Can you read the synopsis of the movie again? Titanic 2. I don't think Kit was here.
It is
Titanic 2, Titantula.
on the 100th anniversary of the original voyage, a modern luxury liner christened Titanic 2 follows the path of its namesake, but when a tsunami hurls an iceberg into the new ship's path, the passengers and crew must fight to avoid a similar fate.
What? Why
Yeah.
are all of these Titanic films are just like, well, we've had 2 Titanic sink already going on this one path. Let's go on the same path again.
I mean,
Also, the
if
only
God damn it,
thing
just
that
go
can
somewhere
take
else.
This is the
boat
thing,
down is
though.
an iceberg.
Go to the Caribbean,
if
you fucking idiots.
If the last couple years have taught me anything, is that at some point Elon Musk is going to make a self-driving boat and make it go on the same path and then sink it. So
That would fucking
I mean,
rule,
probably.
because
Or-
it would have like
every
fucking Peter Thiel
stupid person
and
imaginable.
Alex Jones, Dave Mustaine. They'd all be on it.
Yeah.
I just saw Dave Mustaine's on Joe Rogan. You gonna listen to that?
Yeah, I saw. I can't imagine what wildly racist shit he's going to say.
He's just gonna make sure Joe Rogan is Christian and then
he's
play.
gonna
Oh my
form a
God.
live baptism on his show.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so two things before we start. One, we have a new patron person.
Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, Dave Mustaine, new patron.
Chris.
Yeah, we have a new Patreon supporter, Nausea, I think is how it's pronounced. I'm not sure who you are, but thank you for joining.
Hey,
Thanks.
thank you.
Hello. Let us know who you are.
Yeah.
Except last time. Do you guys remember Kevin? Was that his name?
Yeah.
He was a patron from like the UK, and we don't ever know who he was, and then he never told us who he was, and I still think about him sometimes.
Old mystery
still there.
Kev.
Yeah. Enjoy. I don't know, whatever dumb episodes we got on the Patreon right now. Something about summer. Two movies.
Yeah.
Two episodes currently about summer movies.
Summer of Steve.
I think I said for the 20 minutes that the audio cut out and didn't record me talking.
Yeah. You missed a lot of revelations about a lot of gross things that I had to cut out because Katie just wouldn't stop saying terrible
Okay.
things.
And then also
It was
I have
weird.
a Soda Talk. I need somebody to make us a little jingle for Soda Talk segment. Rather than me just going, Soda Talk,
Somebody-
Soda Talk.
Jeremy specifically, write us a Soda Talk theme that sounds like Mudvayne.
Yes, do it. I love it.
It'll
The
just be
burr-burr-ding.
like burr-burr-ding Soda Talk.
I love it. Please. I tried the new Dream World Coca-Cola.
Does it taste like a dream?
The fuck is
Is it
that?
blissful?
I love the idea that these companies are creating like experiences or like not tangible things and then saying this is what it tastes like Starlight, Pixel, Dream World.
And it just tastes like fruit.
I like pretty much different fruits. I think it tasted like it had kind of like a tropical fruit flavor, or something like that. To me, it tasted. Chris said it was mango. Tiffany also said she thought maybe mango. I was getting either like mango or like nectarine from it. So it's some kind of some kind of like fruit. But I actually really liked it.
I have not seen those yet, so
I saw like 2 people post the display. Well, Tiffany told me she got it, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to go out of my way, but if I see it, like I see it, and it just happened to be in the cooler, and I was like, oh shit, okay, so I got it. It was good. Like not super sweet. Again, I'm thinking like nectarine. If it was mango, that makes sense to me, but I'm like remembering the mango Pepsi, and it does not taste similar. Like, I understand Coke and Pepsi are different, obviously, but and then the other thing is, I don't know if I ever talked about this, but I love LaCroix. Like, I drink LaCroix all the time, and they came out with a cherry blossom flavor, which cherry blossom is like, again, also one of my like favorite flavors. I love it. And so I finally found the cherry blossom LaCroix, and I have a lot of questions because to me it tasted like, do you guys know what cherry cordials are?
Yeah. The chocolate things or whatever.
Yeah, that they come out with Christmas, where it's like a maraschino cherry inside of chocolate with like cream sometimes. That's what it tasted like, and I literally could not taste chocolate when I drank it, and it was disgusting.
Yeah, it sounds gross.
So I'm sad about that, but it's okay. I had a pumpkin this weekend. Pumpkin's good this year, if you want to know. Every year it tastes different, and sometimes it's really gross, and this year it's good. And right now I have a New Belgium Atomic Pumpkin Spicy release, and it is a little spicy, and it's really good. Voodoo Ranger. I recommend it.
I don't know what any of that last stuff was.
It's beer. It's pumpkin beer.
I'm drinking water. Big old 3-liter thing of water.
3 liters, wow.
Well, because at work I realized like Fiji for their biggest thing is like almost $3, and the Poland Spring 3-liter giant thing's $1.50. So I was like, why the fuck am I buying this? I get way more water for less money.
It's Fuji is artisanal,
Yeah,
Nathan.
sure.
That's why.
Just keep telling
What are
yourself
you
that.
drinking, Kit?
Dr. Pepper.
Dog spit.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah. Okay. Let's start Titanic
Let's
666.
Somehow talk about the most boring movie.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be fine. We'll jam through it. So basically, the movie starts with a very terrible CG reenactment of the Titanic going down, and people being like,
In case people weren't familiar with what the Titanic was, they make sure you know.
I mean,
Do you think there's anyone on this earth above the age of like 14 that doesn't know what the Titanic is?
yeah. I mean, like, I feel like outside of the U.S. probably, but it really
They got
baffles
this movie
me.
too.
But I mean, I feel like it's like such a weird cultural, like, there's like a specific. Do you mean that like just the Titanic in general?
Yeah, like
I feel
the
like people
you
are
know.
more aware of the movie
James
than they
Cameron
are
movie.
of like. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Then, like, I think that there's people who probably don't even know the Titanic was like, they think the movie is it. I think, and I also I am not surprised by the amount of things people do not know about. Like, I've met people who don't know what like Super Mario Bros is. I'm like, how? Have you never watched a TV? There's commercials for it everywhere.
They're
Like,
not
how do you
Italian,
not know?
okay?
Yeah.
Listen,
And then nothing. I
was gonna say I'm not Italian either, but
I mean, I feel like it's one of those things that, like, even outside of, like, you know, the U.S. or whatever, I feel like kids are probably at least taught something about the Titanic, like, even if it's the extent of, look at what this
Boats are bad.
dumb fucking Americans tried to do, or whatever.
boats are bad.
That's a good,
You
good
know, like,
rule of
good
thumb
point.
is always, boats are bad. Don't get on boats.
Yeah,
Can't trust them.
yeah.
You know what's under those
The
boats?
bigger the boat, the
Just
less you should trust it.
trillions of sharks waiting for you. And that's
That's true.
That's
Wow.
just at the top. If you somehow make it past the boats, you don't know what the fuck's down the bottom of the ocean. Just weird fish with lights on their head. Everything's just waiting to eat you.
They're see-through.
Yeah, it's a fucking hellscape. You don't want to be there. Stay away from the water.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Even
filled with piss and cum.
even you know how much? Yeah, I mean technically true.
Oh my
You don't know what people are doing out there.
I mean,
You don't know what everyone that sank on the Titanic was doing.
I know what the sharks are doing, which is pissing
Jerking
and
off.
coming.
Why?
I mean,
Whole
well,
ocean
what
full
they,
of shark
they have
cum.
to. They have to pee, and they also fuck to make more sharks to eat people. So
No, I mean,
They're just spraying their DNA everywhere.
well, okay. I just felt like, why is this conversation happening? I maybe
That's the
I don't know.
ocean.
If you are listening from outside the U.S., please let us know if you know what the Titanic is.
Or how much
I
shark
don't
cum
feel-
there is in the ocean.
You can address that to not me. I don't want to know about it.
that's what I want in the review for my spiel later. Let us know and how many liters of shark cum you think is actually in the ocean.
I feel like it would disintegrate. No.
But well, I mean, it's got to float around
The
somewhere.
water's
I assume it just
churn.
gets eaten by like guppies or fucking whatever tiny ass fish are in there.
Guppies. Poor guppies. Okay.
More like gulpies.
This one- Ew, come on. This went off the rails very fast. We just started the movie. A reenactment of the Titanic. If you somehow don't know what the Titanic was, it was basically a huge-ass boat that a lot of rich people went on, and then it hit an iceberg, and it went down, and a lot of people died.
The end. Katie's history corner.
Essentially. So that's what happened. And so there's also the water was really cold. So the chances of you falling into the water, you don't have a chance. You're pretty much dead.
Unless
so,
you're
yeah, so to get our-
what's her name that couldn't fit Leo.
Rose.
Yeah. I was
Listen,
thinking Kate Winslet? Is that her last name?
Kate Winslet.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. She.
I wanted to say Blanchett, and I was like, that's not right.
She was just there for a good time. Okay, she wasn't trying to get committed, but whatever.
I really, because, like I said, like I haven't seen it, but like it's kind of impossible to like not know stuff about that movie through just cultural osmosis. Yeah. So like, she's poor in that, right? And like sneaks on the boat or some shit.
Jack's poor. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, that's it, right?
Poor.
I know one of them where it was.
Yeah.
And that's what like I kind of assumed was happening with this fucking lady that resurrects ghosts on this one, where I was like, oh, is she gonna get drawn naked too? Although we do see a naked ghost later.
Shockingly, yes, there was a naked ghost
That's how
lady.
this got 1 star out of me, out of half a star.
Okay, so yeah, there's a reenactment of the Titanic going down in very bad CG. People being put on lifeboats. It looks very bad. For some reason, there is a couple who is we're focused on, and they don't ever come back. So I'm not really sure what was the point of them.
Real quick, only because this conversation is going to come up in 2 episodes from now, because somehow Dylan and I also talked about James Cameron's Titanic in the Guar episode.
Okay.
I don't remember how. I think maybe he had watched it for the first time, something, or maybe I said we were doing this next, or fucking whatever. But there's been a clip going around, like on social media, of people losing their mind at like this big, wide shot of the Titanic in James Cameron's movie being CGI. And like you see the clip, and especially now, you're like, yeah, no shit, this is like the most CGI thing I've ever seen. But like, it's so funny because I was just like, yeah, I guess people just assumed that James Cameron built a Titanic, put it out in the middle of the ocean, and shot the movie.
Yeah. Why wouldn't he? That's how movies are made,
it's
right?
Just so funny looking at it now because I keep seeing the clip, and it'll be like one of those things where it's like, I can't believe this is CGI with like a shocked face emoji, and I'm like, yeah, this looks like a fucking 90s computer game.
Yeah. Although I do, like, I haven't watched it in a while. I did see, this was crazy. I saw it in the theater, like, when it first came out, and I remember there being so many people, 100% against the law fire hazard. There were so many people that went to see it. We had to stand up along the back wall and watch this movie. This movie is 2 VHS tapes long, and we had
like
to
3-some
stand
hours,
through
isn't
it. I was a child. Anyway, I remember it being very impressive, but like
That happened when I saw
yeah.
Forrest Gump, where they had like people sitting in the aisle.
Yeah, insane. But I mean, as an adult, would I ever look back on that movie and think it was a real ship? No.
It's so
Who
funny when you
lied
see
to
the
you about
footage
movies?
now, because it's like the people just look like Grand Theft Auto 3 characters.
I love it.
And I'm like,
I got the-
I guess like at least, you know, that movie probably came out like a decade before Grand Theft Auto 3 maybe or something. So like I get it at the time, but people reacting to it now, they're like, I can't believe this was CGI. I'm like, come on, this looks like shit.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Anyway,
I need to rewatch it. I enjoy Titanic. I think the topic itself to me is interesting, so maybe that's why this movie was like fine to me, I guess. And I enjoy Titanic memes that are going around. I think it's very funny. Okay, there's a couple who is separated. He is literally standing feet away from her, and she's like, Edward, I don't know what his name was, Jonathan, where are you? And he's like yelling back at her, and he's like, no, wait, come back, why are you walking the other way? And just like lets her leave. And I was like, okay, bro. And then he like gets on his boat, and I was like, piece of shit. It doesn't matter. Like, essentially what happens is that the boat goes down. The girl is on top of an upside down lifeboat, so she's like survived, and then she sees this like bowler hat like bobbing in the water towards her, and then what looks like a zombie jumps out of the water and grabs her and pulls her in. And at this point I was very confused.
that's the movie I wanted.
But I was like, okay, well, I already have an issue, because how are there zombies already? Did the zombies like make the ship I don't know.
Titanic
But
Zero.
they do kind of, yeah, they do kind of. Anyways, so now it is 110 years later, which is stupid if we're thinking that Titanic 2 happened 100 years, because it's only been 10 years at this point. So why are we attempting Titanic 3 already? This is like the Jurassic Park thing, right? Where they're just like, yeah, it's probably fine this time. Right? Like, everything's good.
It'll work out this time. No way they can fuck it up again.
The Titanic 3 is setting off on the same course that the original Titanic took to visit the wreck site for I don't even know what reason. We are introduced to two of the most obnoxious people that I've ever seen in my life, Mia and Jackson, who are vloggers. Mia has this this like aspect of, I can't remember her name, but it's the sister in Schitt's Creek. She is like doing that character in this movie, essentially, like for the vlog, and it's very.
I mean,
it's a lot.
she's just doing like the same fucking portrayal of anybody with a vlog or any social media influencer from like the last fucking 10 years.
Every one of these movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so essentially they pull up to the Titanic, and she's basically just like talking about how it's just like making money off of misfortune, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh my God, babe, are you filming? I'm so excited. Look at that. Like, that's not even actually what whatever.
Nice.
Anyways, so they're like there to like vlog the experience of being on the Titanic, right? And it's fake, of course. Then we're introduced to Captain Rhodes, who is addressing the crew about the trip that they're on, and basically that they've ramped up security because there's cosplayers, mediums, relatives, and relics from the original Titanic on board. And then somebody is talking about a death pool, and I don't know what that means, but
A death pool?
yeah.
It's basically like when you bet on who's going to die first or next or whatever. It's how Deadpool gets his name in the movie, at least.
Assumed, but like I don't like the context seemed weird to me. So the ship takes off, And then in the cargo hold, we see somebody who has snuck on board in a suitcase. And I don't know that we ever hear her name, or she's never introduced really, but her name is in the credits is Adina, so that's what I'm going to call her. She has snuck aboard in a suitcase, and she steals a crew uniform. She does something downstairs. I don't even know what it was. She was like taking pictures or something. I'm not sure. She steals a crew uniform, and then she's like going and looking at like all the artifacts they have, and she's drawn to the violin that she takes out of the case and is like hugging it. Then there's a really weird jarring noise that I wasn't really sure what it was supposed to be. And then it cuts to Professor Cochran, who I just called Professor, seeing her touching the violin, and he freaks out on her. He is a piece of work. So
yeah, he's the worst character in this movie. Just
yeah,
I would rather watch the fucking influencer for an hour and a half over this fucking dude.
Oh yeah.
I mean, truly. So he's basically just this like hoity-toity professor who has paid to excavate the wreck of the Titanic and has all of these like artifacts, like jewelry, hairpins, you know, like anything, the violin or whatever. And he has them on display, right, on the Titanic. So she takes out the violin and is touching it. And he comes up and is basically just like, you know, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, don't touch that. Like, you know, whatever. And Adina gives the first of many monologues where she's talking about how he stole this stuff from where it was resting, like with the owners at the bottom of the sea. And this is where she equates it to what Kit was talking about, where she equates it to like Egyptians being buried with their possessions and then people going in and like stealing from them, and then there's a curse based off of that or whatever. And
who the fuck cursed the Titanic? Someone's placing curses. Is it sinking? What?
That checks out to me.
Yeah, I think so. So
it was Leo after Rose left.
He was like, "You stupid bitch! A plague upon your house.
Never return."
Yeah, so she's basically just like, this is shitty. And the like cruise lady is basically just like, oh no, everything's fine, like the violin's not hurt, like why don't you go like do something else, like it's fine. And then Adina is essentially like sees this hairpin and is just like, oh, this hairpin, my grandmother had something exactly like it. And so when the cruise lady is like trying to appease the professor, Adina steals the hairpin. So the vloggers are just like walking around and they're showing us kind of like how the Titanic 3 was like recreated from like specific, you know, blueprints from the original Titanic. This is where Mia uses the words amazeballs and wowzers.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were using amazeballs still, but here we are.
Bringing it back.
Yeah. They have a run-in with the professor guy, and it's like weird. Essentially, he like legit runs into them, and he's kind of like just talking down to them and like being rude. And then they like, you know, whatever, leave him, and then they're scared by the security guard, and they're just kind of like annoying. They're like, you know, they're just being themselves. So Professor, then it like cuts throughout the movie. We see the professor like talking to different guests about like specific items that he has. And so here he is like basically telling this like old guy that everyone who was a part of like the expedition that he went on was allowed to keep one piece for themselves. And he kept a wedding ring that is inscribed with the names Edward and Sarah. And the guy realizes that the Edward part of it is Edward from Twilight, and this movie takes a turn after that. I'm just kidding. It's it was the name of the captain of the Titanic, I guess. And so the guy like essentially wants to like buy the ring off of him, and he's like, no, like this has too much sentimental value, but I have some other stuff that I'd be willing to let you buy, like as long as you're willing to pay the price, essentially. So Adina does some magic in the basement. She has like the picture and some other like artifacts, and the vloggers go down below the deck to like show like an inside scoop of the deck of like the boat, which like I don't really understand why like a boiler room would be interesting to anybody. Like why would anybody want to see that? But they're down there.
I've contemplated doing the Dawn of the Dead Monroeville Mall tour where you could see like the boiler room from the movie.
Okay, but
if I could see the actual boiler room from the actual Titanic, I'd go.
Okay.
Take a submarine. Sure. Get eaten by a see-through fish. I'd pay $1,000 to get eaten by a see-through fish.
Okay. That seems like a normal price, I guess.
Yeah, you could get chunk bitten out of you, and then you could see it go through the fish. I assume.
I don't know if it works that way. I think if you put light on them, they would like leave and be scared.
Well, I'm gonna train long enough that I'd be able to see in that kind of dark.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, obviously.
So they go down there. They see her doing like the magic or whatever she is, and they like start filming her. Nancy, who is a cosplayer that follows the vloggers or whatever, comes down and is like, what are you guys doing down here? And they're just like, I don't know what's happening here. Like, is this a ghost tour? And then, which is like fucking stupid because no one else is down there, right? So she's like doing the ritual where she takes the hairpin and like stabs her hand with it and then rubs her blood all over a picture of the captain. And then all of the electronics die, so they like leave essentially. They're on their way back to like charge their equipment when they run into the professor again, and they have another altercation where they basically are like yelling at each other. Nancy comes up and is like, hey, these guys are cool, they make millions of dollars of views or some shit. And so then the professor is like, oh really? And so once he realizes that they like have money, he is like pretending to be nice to them and like offering to sell them some of the artifacts. He's like mean to Nancy, and Nancy leaves, and then he hits on Mia, which is like gross. And then he's just like, okay, I'll buy you guys a drink, see ya. And they're like, it's an open bar, which is crazy. Okay, so it kind of jumps to them being at the wreck site of the Titanic, and so the boat stops over it.
Oh yeah,
and they all
do like a
moment
of silence or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remember if I like imagined that or was just so bored. I don't know, like a good portion of the middle of this movie I just kind of immediately erased from my memory after it got done.
Yeah, they do a moment of silence. But meanwhile downstairs, Adina is like freaking out, and it's like all windy and shit. You know how it is windy at the bottom of the ship.
Yeah. When
you go on ships and stuff. So then this is where we meet who I call... Okay, so a ghost shows up, and it is the captain from the picture, and he appears to her, and then they touch hand vapors. They, like, put their hands up, and then there's, like, ghost vapor going between them. And this is where we find out that he is her great-grandfather. So from here on out, I called him Captain Ghost Great-Grandpa. Captain Ghost Grandpa. You know, any iteration is fine. And he blows cold air out of his mouth at her, which happens kind of a lot from now, so...
Just pretty much this whole movie is just people blowing cold air at each other.
Yeah. Which, like...
It's rude.
Well, we'll see. So, meanwhile, you know, it's like everyone's like partying or whatever. Mia and Jackson, the vloggers, go out on the deck, and she's got a drink that she calls that is like the staple drink of the ship that is called the iceberg. And she says, it's a little offensive, but yummy. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, offensive. And then she said it, and I was like, oh my God. Yeah, not great.
It seems like you're courting what is going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. She also said that the drink was just like vodka and dry vermouth, which, no thank you. Doesn't sound like a very good drink.
Means nothing to me as someone that is drinking neither.
Well,
just sounds bad because I know it's
a
going to
drink
taste
called
like
the
alcohol.
iceberg. Yeah. The worst alcohol, which is vodka, in my opinion.
Can we talk about how the captain of Titanic 3 is in Leprechaun Back to the Hood?
Oh. As what?
I don't know, somebody in the movie.
Oh. Well, good for him.
No, like the woman that's the captain of the ship.
Oh, Captain Rose. I thought you meant the ghost captain.
No, I didn't even realize that ghost captain had a name.
Probably.
Yeah, it's Captain Ghost.
Yeah, ghost captain.
Captain Ghost Grandpa. So they're out there on the deck just doing whatever, and then a ghost violinist shows up, and she's like, "Oh my God, this is so romantical. Let's dance." And they're like dancing to the music. Then there's like this really, really bad like feedback noise all over the ship, and like a screeching, and there's like not ghost face,
yeah,
but like ghost
Scream shows
faces.
up.
Yeah.
And like flashing around. They do this thing I don't care for. That's like what I don't know what it's called in terms of film, but I call it subliminal messaging, where they just like cut the faces in with like whatever's happening, and it looks very bad. But anyways, there's like the screeching and like feedback noise, ghost faces, and then Jackson disappears. Mia is freaking out, obviously, because like she doesn't know what happened to her husband. She's like looking around for him. Meanwhile, the professor shows up to like console her. He's like, "Oh, don't worry. Like he's probably somewhere on the ship. Like, come on, I'll get you a drink." And she asks for a lemon drop martini, which I did not know was a thing. So he goes to get her a drink, like leaves her there. The ghost violinist shows back up and kills her via violin screech.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Way to go.
Screeches his violin, and she just like, I assume her neck snaps, and she falls to the ground. So this is where we get a lot of like kind of boat stuff, sort of, I think, that again is like really annoying because it's like showing like the people, like the crew in the control room, and they're like looking at the radar, and they see that there's a really thick fog coming in, and it's like so thick that it's showing up as an actual object, which seems like that should not be a thing. But basically the fog is like messing with the radio signals so that, and like they can't get a hold of the captain or whatever.
How do you not
when,
at least like have a weird ghost from the movie The Fog show up in this? Like, do some kind of homage to this, like to The Fog. Make it do something cool in this movie.
That honestly would have been such a good opportunity for like a shot, like, you know, like the church scene or whatever that is,
yeah,
like
this,
the ship.
If this movie would have just turned into secretly a Fog remake, but on the Titanic, I would at least give it a 2 stars for the ingenuity.
Yeah.
Or give the ghosts guns and laser swords.
They all just have lightsabers.
Yes.
Well,
like, fuck you, George Lucas and Disney. We can do this anyway.
I don't want microphone screeches. I want sword battles on the haunted ship.
What if he had a laser violin?
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
See, that's using your brain.
Yeah, already.
Maybe
made
it was
this
a
better
ghost
movie.
laser, and we just couldn't see it.
It's true.
Because We don't have ghost eyes. I don't, at least.
I do.
So
It's weird.
this is when the guards find Mia, who is dead, and then they find Captain Rhodes and bring her, to the body, and then they're gonna like watch basically the video feed to like figure out what happened to her. Then there's just like some random guy that's downstairs, like below deck, working in the engine room, I guess, and he just like gets his head blasted off with like a valve, and I was like, okay. I can't say I was expecting a beheading, so I'll give that to him.
Oh no, there's one death in this that I found very funny that I think's at the very end.
Okay.
When the lady gets crushed by the boat.
Yeah, that's at the end. So the professor basically this whole time is like peddling the relics to try, he's like trying to sell them to people. Captain Rhodes has watched the video on Mia's phone and saw that like the professor went out there and talked to her. So now they're going to like get him to question him about what happened. And they basically are like, we have you on video having an altercation with them, and now she's dead and her husband's missing. So like, what's going on? And he basically is like trying to say that he had nothing to do with it, which like he actually didn't, sort of, I guess. Except it was like he didn't physically do something, but like he kind of, this is his fault, right? So basically he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, like this is outrageous or whatever, and they throw him in the brig. So then we find out that the head security guard is like in on it with the professor, and he's like leading people over to the professor so that he can like sell the relics, and then they're splitting the money. And at this point he's like, listen, you're being charged a murder, I can get you out of it, but you need to give me more of a cut of the money or whatever. And then he's like, I'm not going to do that, and they like have an argument that like goes back and forth or whatever. And then finally the guard is just like, why are you selling this stuff anyway? Like, it doesn't belong to you. You stole it, and this, that, the other. And then the professor is just like, well, they're dead, so we don't have to worry about them anymore. And I was like, joke's on you, bitch, because you do.
The security guard guy is like the most sketchy looking person you could possibly cast.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Captain Rhodes noticed that I don't know what she was doing at this point, but she realizes that the ship is moving again and is like, okay, that's not supposed to happen. She goes back up to the control room and she's like yelling at her like crew, and they're just like, we don't know what's going on. The system's not working. It shows that the engines are not on. So like, we're moving some other way. And she's like, that's not possible. What's going on? And she's just like, I don't know, bossing them around and whatever. And they're like, we don't know what to do. Like, whatever. So the head guard and Captain Rhodes go down to the entry room to like figure out why the ship's moving, and they find the guy who's been decapitated, and they're like, well, that's not great. Also, there should be a whole crew down here, and there's nobody, so that's weird. A little bit. Then we see this lady who had, the professor had given her a necklace earlier in the night, and she's like wearing it, and she's like getting seasick, so she goes out on the deck to kind of like, breathe in the air and like not be sick or whatever. And she goes out there, and there's a ghost lady who is there, and she chokes her out with her ice breath.
Oh yeah.
That's
how I
whatever.
Go.
So they're down in the engine room, like trying to figure out how to like stop the engine, I guess. And they're trying to like pull a lever to like stop it or whatever, but it's not working, and the engine starts to overheat. And Captain Rhodes tries to like hack the computer, but it doesn't work. Obviously, I don't know anything about ships, but so they run out of the room, and basically the engine explodes. And they're like, well, that's weird. This is state of the art. That shouldn't be happening.
Seems weird that the engine blew up.
Yeah, I don't know. So now they're just like drifting in open water, and there are icebergs everywhere.
I mean, like, people just never learn. Like we said earlier, like, why would you take the same course and it's like, and then be surprised there's fucking icebergs?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like just stop going near the icebergs, right? That can't be hard. It
Yeah,
can't be hard
avoid
to
them.
not
They're very
go to
large.
icebergs. I don't understand. So yeah, they're just like floating in the open water. There's icebergs everywhere, and they're trying to like, I guess, whatever happened when the engine exploded, I assume, should have like sent a distress signal to the Coast Guard, and they're like, "Ah, we're fine." The Coast Guard knows, but then they're like, "I don't know, maybe they don't. It's been a while or whatever." But then like the system does reboot, and they're able to call for help. And they this whole part is just like this whole part dealing with the inner workings of the boat and like making the captain like a bigger character, I feel was like unnecessary, because then she like has this whole conversation where she's like, okay, well, our engine blew up, the boat's here, like the boat's fine otherwise, like we're not taking on water, we don't need like we just need help. And she has this whole conversation with the Coast Guard, and then he's like, everything's gonna be okay, ma'am, it's fine. So she's just like, all right. Then one of the guys goes down below to like look for the rest of the crew that's missing, and I'm pretty sure we never see him again. So I don't know
Yeah,
what
that checks out.
that's about. Okay, so now we are back at the professor, who is locked in essentially just like a room, like a jail room, I guess. And his room
It's called the brig.
springs a leak. And well, I said the brig earlier, but I don't know if it's actually the brig. His room pops a leak and starts taking on water, and the power goes out, and he's like, oh my god, there's like screeching and like flashes of ghost faces all over the place, like rah, and then a ghost shows up. It's just some random ghost, and is like uses his ghost powers to like bind the professor's wrists to two beds, but then like he just gets stretchy mouth and is like and like breathes cold air, and then it cuts away. Nancy, you know, the cosplayer, comes to the control room to talk to Captain Rhodes to basically tell her that it was a ghost that killed the vloggers. And Captain Rhodes is just like, okay, Nancy, why don't you go back to your room? But then for some reason they decide that the professor either wasn't responsible or whatever, because they let him out of the room. And he's still alive at this point. He's like freaking out because, you know, he just had a ghostly encounter. He was a paranormal survivor. And he is trying to tell Captain Rhodes what happened, but like isn't connecting that it was a ghost. He was like, I can't believe you guys locked me down there with a corpse. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm also like, what are you talking about? Because it's clearly a ghost. It apparated. It's like, what do you, like, it tied you to a wall? Like, what are you talking about? Anyways, he's just like not being very clear about what happened. So they're just kind of like, okay, whatever. Then he also accuses the guard, like the head guard, of messing with him to like get him caught for the murder so that he can take 100% of the profits for himself, which I don't really think it works that way. Like either you have the money or you don't, I feel, but whatever. So they're gonna like escort him back to his room so he can like calm the fuck down, and they run into Adina, and the professor is basically just like, oh, I knew it, like I knew you didn't work for the ship, like she's the one that's doing all of this. And she's just like, I didn't do anything, ha ha ha, and like walking around like she's a, you know, like just a free spirit, just like hanging out on the ship, like nothing's going on, whatever.
Yeah, they had to get one hippie on the ship.
Like literally. And she's basically just like, I didn't do it, the professor did.
To get just like quietly say, I hate her.
Yep.
she's pretty annoying, because she gives us, like the 12th monologue about how, like, this is all the professor's fault because he excavated, the wreck and stole stuff from all of those people, and it's the curse, and everything that's happening is his fault. She goes like on and on and on about it, and basically it's just like, hey, guess what? The ship's haunted now, bitches. And the professor is like, okay, yeah, okay, I believe you now. And he's basically just like, how do we stop this from happening? And she's basically just like, you can't. You're cursed now, and your punishment is watching everyone die. Which seems really unfair to everybody else.
Yeah,
but
shouldn't be on the Titanic 3.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, sure. I like Nancy. She's just a little cute little cosplaying lady who is just trying to enjoy her life on the Titanic.
What do you get for being a cosplayer?
And everyone's making fun of her. Well, also her costumes weren't very good, but it's whatever. So basically, Adina is like yelling, and it's like, it's your fault, black. Like she's, whatever. So the head security guard is going to take Adina, to, I don't know, lock her up or whatever. And the other guard goes with the professor to escort him to his room. They immediately see a ghost down the hall who kills the security guard off screen. This ghost to me looked like he was wearing a flannel, so I was really confused as to the time period here, but whatever.
He's just getting in that grunge look.
Yeah.
Ghosts could see what's happening in the world.
He did kind of have like emo hair, I felt like, too. So who knows? He was just some other random guy that's like, I'm just here for the killing, whatever.
Same.
So Adina reveals that she knows that the guard is a part of this, like, selling off the artifacts for profit or whatever, because the ghost told her to. And Captain Ghost's grandpa shows up and is like, ice breath or whatever. And the guard's like, what the fuck? The guard, this is my favorite part of the movie. So the head guard sees Captain Ghost's grandpa and shoots at him, and the bullet ricochets and shoots the other guard in the arm.
It is pretty funny.
Amazing. Captain Ghost's grandpa starts doing ice breath to Adina, and like transfer. He's like icing at her, and then she's like, blah!
Yeah,
like,
he's
and then
icing
the power.
That common phrase everybody is familiar with.
I feel like if you've seen the movie, what other term could there be?
I hope anyone listening to this has not seen this movie. Nobody watch this.
Well, I'll say this at the end.
Kay's gonna be like, "This is my favorite movie we've ever done."
It's not, but I have seen worse ghost movies. I have seen some movies that I would rather watch this movie again than watch. Like, they did kind of recently did a movie about the Winchester house or whatever. That was like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And Titanic 666 was somehow better than that movie. And it's about the Mystery Mansion, which is one of the coolest things ever. So I don't know. So the power in the boat goes out again. They're trying to reboot the system in the control room, and this is when Captain Rhodes sees the ghost very briefly, and then she's like, it's nothing. I'm like, okay, girl. So basically what was happening is that Captain Ghost's grandpa was, like, transferring his ghost power to her somehow, and now she can, like, force choke people. So she force chokes the guard and, like, knocks him out against the wall and leaves the brig.
Very good.
Meanwhile, the professor is, why not? Sure. The professor is he's like freaking out. He's like, oh, I got to get rid of all the relics. If I get rid of them, then I'll be okay. And so he's like trying to collect all of his stuff. He goes into the bathroom to wash his face off, and this is where he sees a ghost lady in the shower.
Hell yeah.
Very weird looking. I don't. That's all I have to say about that.
It's the best part of the movie. Because it's
it was
so
shot very
unsuspecting.
confusing.
Like, I was like, what is happening? Why is there all of a sudden
I
a
also
naked
feel
ghost?
naked ghost, but I also feel like she was like CG'd into the shower or
Oh,
something.
yeah, 100%.
It was very weird looking.
There was no actual person in that shot. Or it was a real ghost.
It might have been.
That's Zach Baggins' dream of coming across a naked ghost lady in the shower.
Isn't that everyone's dream?
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of just want to shower and not be haunted.
Yeah, I feel like there's some places that I don't want to encounter a ghost, and I think for me, mostly a bathroom is the place. Like, leave me alone in
They
there.
want to watch me poop. I'm fine with that. I just want to shower in peace.
But, like, I don't want to see it. If it's chilling and hanging out, fine. But, like, don't reveal yourself to me.
What if it's
I just
pooping
don't
with
wanna see
you?
it.
It's doing that thing where you're sitting on the toilet and they're sitting on your lap facing you,
It's
so they can squeeze in and
double.
poop between your legs.
It's doing a double trouble.
I just assume they're pooping in the sink.
It's in the bathtub and it's waffle stomping its turd.
Yeah.
Anytime you just hear like a weird bang kind of noise, that's just what's happening.
It's
Ghost stomping turds in your bathtub.
You know,
This
honestly,
is the ghost movie we should
considerate
have.
of them.
I want a movie.
The Phantom Shitter.
Yeah, a movie about a ghost haunting somebody by just pooping in their bathtub and then stomping it down the drain.
All right. Let's do it.
The M. Night Shyamalan fucking
So-
twist. The end.
It's your dead dad. He's been here shitting in the fucking bathtub.
I think we're onto something here.
Okay. Yep. Just a ghost lady in the shower. The guard that got shot in the arm from the ricochet is like laying on the ground, and he gets ghost breathed. He's dead.
Goodbye.
Alright.
Okay. So meanwhile, Adina goes to the control room. This whole thing with her is like literally the stupidest aspect of the movie. So she goes to the control room. She's like force choking a bunch of people away from the control room. And she's like, "It's good to be back on the Titanic." She talks normal, kind of. But so, you know, I guess at this point, maybe he wasn't giving her powers. Maybe he was like possessing her, but they did not make it very clear what was happening. So who knows? Captain Rhodes basically like starts talking to Adina, who is now the captain, you know, old Captain Titanic or whatever. And she's like, "This isn't right. Like, she says you can't scuttle. There will be no scuttling the ship." And I don't know what that means, but I assume it means stealing it. And she's basically just like, "You can't do this. Like, it's not right for you to kill all these people. Like, don't you understand? You know, like, whatever. You can't be doing this." So we find out that they're headed straight towards an iceberg, and they can't control the ship at this point. So Captain Rhodes is trying to reason with her and being like, if the ship crashes, like, you'll die too. You're the only one that can stop this. And then Adina goes, "I know." And she cuts her own throat open.
I mean,
Don't really know why.
I assume. Like,
She wanted to get done with the movie
Yeah.
like everyone else.
I assumed that was the ghost
Yeah.
doing it, like to just, you know, get her out of the picture. She knows too much.
I have no idea. I'm like, you've got ghost power now. Like, why? She should be okay, right? I don't know. Either way, she's dead. And then I just like wasn't sure. The tone of the scene was not telling me what was going on. Well, but anyway, she's dead, so we don't have to see her anymore. Then the ship immediately hits a really terrible CG iceberg and starts taking on water, of course.
CG iceberg.
I get it.
There you go.
Huh?
There you go. It was pretty bad.
This fucking movie is
It
so
was
stupid.
Yeah. I imagine that these graphics were what like they were showing in high school reenactment of like what happened on the Titanic, but like, in the early 2000s.
One of those in-class videos. They wheel out the
Yes.
TV VCR rolly cart.
Yeah, literally. And they're gonna like be like, we're gonna show you what happened on the Titanic with 1997 graphics, and that's what this movie was. So, the professor shows up and is like, okay, I know what we have to do to stop this. We have to throw all the artifacts overboard. It's the curse that's doing all of this stuff. That's how we stop it. Captain Rhodes says, I don't care about anything about this. Great. Love that. Love that for her. And she's like, the only thing that she cares about is getting passengers to the lifeboats. So it's essentially chaos now. There's alarms going off. There's people screaming. There's like fires and explosions for whatever reason. And the head guard guy is like, all right, I'm gonna make so much money. I'm gonna make all this money by myself. So he's down there like stealing the artifacts. And wouldn't you know it, Ghost Mia shows up. He tries to shoot her, and she uses her ghost breath to make him turn the gun on himself and shoot himself. And she doesn't look great.
To be fair, nothing in this
like,
movie does.
I feel like the regular ghost people looked fine. Like, they looked better than what I was expecting that they would look like, to be fair with you, because I thought it was going to all be CG, and I think that there are some parts of it where it's, like, makeup, at least. But she is not, like, most of the ghosts are, like, blue, gray tones and have, like, frost on them because they froze to death. But she is, like, she looks like as she died. So her skin is still normal, so all they did on her was, like, the CG mouth stretchy thing, and it looked extremely terrible. But anyways, Captain Rhodes and the professor are trying to get life jackets on everyone, get everyone on the lifeboats. There's like, basically, they just show like everyone trying to get on the lifeboats while water starts coming in like down the hallways. And the ship is in full on sync at this point. And they just like show random ghosts popping up and whatever. I don't know. Then my second favorite part of this movie, the head guard shows up as a ghost and drops a lifeboat on the cruise director lady.
It rocks. It's the best death of the movie. She just explodes.
Yeah, pretty good. So now everyone is on the lifeboats, and the professor sees Captain Ghost Grandpa like standing there, and is like, poor Nancy, the cosplayer, gets on a lifeboat, but then I think a ghost is on her lifeboat, or a ghost releases her lifeboat so they fall. I'm not really sure. But she sees a ghost and she screams, and I'm pretty sure she's dead. Captain Rhodes is running around in slow motion. Then they have a scene of Captain Ghost Grandpa standing at the helm of the ship and going down with it again. Unnecessary, I feel. Somehow the professor got on a lifeboat by himself. He's just on a boat all by himself. I don't know how. And Captain Rhodes swims up to him, and he helps her on. And they, like, laugh, and they're basically just, like, talking a little bit. And he's just like, isn't it ironic that I survived when this was all my fault? Ha, ha, ha. And Captain Rhodes is essentially just like, well, you'll sort that out with God. And then she asks if he helped people to the lifeboats, like she asked. And he said, I tried. Like, he did, though. We saw him.
I know, like, pretty sure he got least somebody onto those lifeboats.
Yeah, they showed him helping, like, a lot, like, he got a lot of people on the lifeboats, and he just said, I tried, or whatever, and then he dies from
freezing
unknown
to death.
Reasons.
Yeah, he freezes to death.
But, like, he had he had like cuts and stuff on him, which we don't know like why or how that happened. And so she's like, "Oh no, Professor!" And she's like shaking him and stuff, and then he immediately comes back to life as a ghost and lunges at her, and it's the end.
Yeah, for the going into Titanic 777, I guess.
So
Titanic
I guess
789.
Finally,
I guess why I'm confused is that like, how does your like? So in the very beginning, I was confused because I thought a zombie popped out of the water and grabbed that girl, and so in the movie canon, people turn into ghosts like pretty much right away after they've been killed, which like that makes sense because like people have already died by the time she gets there, but like, how is his body coming back as a ghost? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a thing.
it's magic.
Movie magic. So anyways,
Zombie
I guess
magic.
nobody, I know, right? Yeah, nobody survived.
Do you think a zombie, like a magician that gets turned into a zombie, could still do magic?
Maybe, probably.
Someone.
It's really slow card
It's
tricks.
the Zack Snyder movie I want to see.
I was
Real
gonna say, I guess
slow
it depends
card
on how, like, what canon is in your mind of how smart you think zombies like stay.
Chris Angel, I bet I could do all kinds of tricks.
I think he could. I think if magic is your life, you probably keep doing magic.
All right, nobody watch this movie. It's terrible. It's pretty bad.
It's fine, but don't watch it.
It's
not. I honestly, it's not. It was totally normal to watch. It was definitely not nearly as bad as I thought it was. I tried to watch that other Tubi original. I mean, there's multiple at this point, but when it came out, it was called Teardrop, and I got through like 10 minutes and was like, absolutely not. I cannot stand this, and I at least didn't turn this off. I mean, I guess I couldn't, but I would.
I wish you would have
wouldn't
just made up
turned
the
it
plot
off.
for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. I would have just been
Eventually
like,
it's gonna
oh yeah,
happen.
I remember that.
Like, I don't remember this. I gotta
eventually it's
rewatch
gonna
this
happen.
movie.
You're not gonna know, but yeah. I mean, it was whatever, honestly. But don't watch it, probably.
Probably.
Yeah. Any news, Katie?
I saw that there is going to be a new Stephen King documentary called King on Screen, but it's like mostly focusing on like quintessential like actors and directors that have worked with him and like their experience doing the movies. So like obviously Greg Nicotero, Darabont, Mike Garris, those Mike Flanagan are all going to be
Gary.
in it. Famous director Mike Gary, and then like actors. That's gonna premiere next month at Fantastic Fest, but I have no idea where it's gonna be after, or like what network is picking it up. They're doing a new Scooby-Doo movie for Halloween called Trick or Treat Scooby-Doo that I think is a nostalgia grab, because I read the plot
Isn't
and
every
it's essentially
Scooby-Doo
basically
movie a nostalgia grab, though?
Well, I feel like specific. I mean, no, because I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. There's not a lot that makes me want to watch any of the newer ones. Like I do think that maybe last year they did like an Elvira one. I didn't watch that though. But basically, like the plot of this one is that the person who like would supply all of the costumes to like the Scooby-Doo villains or whatever is like a part of it, and so there's going to be a bunch of classic like doppelgangers of classic like ghosts and shit that were like from the series in it or something like that. So I don't know, if you have kids, I think that would be fun to like watch with. And then I've talked about this before, but the new Mike Flanagan series on Netflix is the Midnight Club. And so that's going to be out October 7th, and it is basically adaptations of Christopher Pike's books, which are like young adult horror and like kids fiction and stuff like that. And so I feel like they're gonna do kind of a
Fear Street.
what's it called?
Type thing.
No,
Or
it's
like
going to
an
be more of like
anthology.
a Are You Afraid of the Dark, where it's like a bunch of kids who are telling the stories of his books to each other. So like the Midnight Club was a novel of his. So they're doing the novel, but then they're also including like adaptations of his other stories. And so I don't know. I'm really excited for that one. I'll definitely check it out.
When are we going to get Chuck Tingle movie adaptations?
What we deserve.
I don't know.
They keep
How are there not is my question.
keep diving into the same kind of books for movie adaptations. I want that. I want Chuck Tingle or those weird books about like women that want to get fucked and then torn apart and eaten by a T-Rex.
Yeah.
I demand Space Raptor butt invasion.
You want me to go see a Jurassic Park movie? Somebody better fuck a T-Rex in it.
I'm saying.
Specifically Newman.
Or the T-Rex better fuck someone.
Yeah.
Either way. Not picky.
Was that the end of the news?
Yeah.
I've got news.
Is it Rob Zombie's wife singing Cher or whatever?
God, no.
Singing Cher.
There's going to be a Killer Clowns from Outer Space
Video game. I just saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not?
I got news.
It's very weird time to decide to release that, but
yeah,
you know, whatever. If the Chiodos get money from it,
yeah, I'll take.
Fuck it. Why not?
Apparently the vocalist from E-Town Concrete created an A&I rapper that got signed and immediately dropped by Capitol Records because it
already get dropped.
Yeah, and they already dropped it.
And
it won't stop saying the N-word.
Did you say an AI rapper?
Yes, he created an AI rapper.
It's programmed by a white guy, and it says the N-word.
Oh, no.
It looks the image that they
great.
created for the rapper is embarrassing. Like,
It's
it just
insane.
Looks like Fortnite.
Oh my god. What?
It's
in the
FN Mecca, the AI robot rapper, recently signed in quotation marks to Capitol Records, is stirring up controversy for repeatedly dropping the N-word despite none of his creators being black. And then it came out that the creator was the vocalist from E-Town Concrete, which checks out.
Oh my god, I just saw the picture. What?
It's so embarrassing.
Literally straight from Fortnite, honestly. You can't tell me that's not a Fortnite guy. Oh my god, why? Why? Who and why and
I had seen that thing, I don't know if it was earlier today or if it was yesterday, and it was the like AI bot thing just spinning around like ear of corn and putting it against its teeth, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? This is some dumb TikTok shit, and didn't think anything about it. And then I just saw him today getting signed to Capitol Records or whatever. I was like, what the fuck? What's happening?
Fucking terrible time to be alive.
there's like a picture of him like photoshopped onto the subway, but he's like clearly a CG character. I don't care for this development.
Like, it's so funny that like people keep trying to create these like AI programs, and within like a day they're always like, we had it just like learn all of its dialogue from looking through Twitter, and it's like they all immediately turned racist. Just incredible.
10 million followers on TikTok.
Oh yeah, of course it's a TikTok thing.
Oh my god.
All right. Katie, what'd you watch this week?
How come
An
sometimes
AI rapper.
He's got a green beard in some of these pictures. I
You
hate
should
it.
follow him on TikTok.
No, thank you. I didn't watch a ton because I started watching the Titans series again on HBO, and
Remember the Titans?
I don't know. Yeah,
You gotta watch it before they pull it.
my favorite movie. And I've obviously just been talking to Nathan about it. It was a fucking hot mess. I'm gonna keep going because it's like, I don't know. It's hard for me because like it's one of those things where the episodes are like 46 minutes, and I feel like it's just a fucking hot mess. I don't really know. I'm gonna finish it though, of course. What else did I watch? I watched Sometimes They Come Back for the first time, and which is like, you know, a Stephen King adaptation. And I actually don't think I read the story it's based off of, and it was all right. I don't really recommend it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone ever talks about that movie, so I assume it's bad.
It came out in '91, and I think, as I said, it's like one of his only like kind of adaptation stories or bigger stories or whatever that I haven't read, and so I don't really know how the actual source material is, but I feel like it's not all there. Like it's just, there's something weird about it. It's whatever. And then I also watched Brain Scan for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
I somehow have never heard of this movie or seen it before, and it was on Tubi, and I clicked on it, and I saw that Edward Furlong was in it, and I was like, how the fuck do I not know what this movie is? And I watched it, and I really liked it. I feel like the ending got kind of weird, but like overall, I liked it a lot, and I feel like, I'm like, how did I miss out on this movie?
Yeah, it's great. I watched it in a long time. I should rewatch it.
Yeah.
It rules.
Super recommend. That might be it.
All right, what about you, Kit?
Let's see, what did I watch?
Mudvayne.
Yeah.
I watched the Shudder Glory Hole movie. Pretty fun.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
The Shudder. It's glorious. It's
a
guy gets locked in a like rest stop, and J.K. Simmons is a voice in a glory hole talking to him.
So motivational growth.
Well, I did not
Yeah,
know
it's
what it
basically
was about, so.
motivational growth, but like H.P. Lovecrafty. Pretty good. Really, really enjoyed it. And J.K. Simmons as weird glory hole man is wonderful.
I've seen the poster going around a lot, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll check that out, but literally had no idea what it was about.
It's the rare good English Shudder film.
Okay.
That alone makes
Fair.
it worth watching, I think.
Yeah.
I watched Day Shift, which is the Jamie Foxx vampire movie on Netflix. I thought it was pretty sick.
I've seen people either say it's like fine or like the best thing they've ever seen, and usually when that happens, I'm like, I should probably just not watch this.
It's definitely not like the best thing in the world, but it's a really fun. It's like I always describe these movies as like one of those 90s action movies you'd catch on HBO on like a Saturday afternoon.
Okay.
Like, perfect that. The story's alright, you know, it's kind of generic, but Jamie Foxx is great in it. I mean, he's just Jamie Foxx being Jamie Foxx, more or less. And it's Dave Franco being a whiny bitch, which he is the best at. And all of the action scenes are really good, I thought, because it's directed by a former stunt coordinator, which we need to just let stunt coordinators direct action movies. They know what they're doing. Hong Kong knew that ages ago, and they were right.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a lesson we should have learned. But yeah, it was really fun. I think it's definitely worth watching.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Death at a Funeral. Really funny. Highly recommend.
That sounds familiar.
Specifically, the British one. There's an American one. Didn't watch that one.
I feel like maybe I
That's
saw the American one, maybe. That name sounds really familiar, but I can't place it.
I'll say the American one is it Martin Lawrence? I'll have to Google it
Maybe
real
I
quick.
haven't seen it then.
Yeah, it's like Martin Lawrence and Chris Rock. The British one is like Matthew McFadden and Peter Dinklage, and they're going to like Matthew McFadden's dad's funeral, and but Alan Tudyk accidentally takes a bunch of drugs, and he's fucked up and knocks over the dad's coffin, and it's just everyone being an absolute fucking nightmare at this funeral, more or less. Very British, very funny. And then I watched Orphan, the new Orphan movie.
I still haven't seen the
Oh.
first one, so... But I really want to watch
I
the
think-
sequel because every behind-the-scenes picture I've seen is
So
incredible.
funny. So funny. Yeah, the first one I was surprised by. It's,
Yeah.
again, not great, but it was, like, pretty fun for how silly it is. And
I
this
feel
one...
like at the time the reveal was like bigger of a shock.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah, like, it really caught me off guard watching it. Like, that first one was like, oh, shit! And now, you know,
Mhm.
everyone obviously kind of knows. But,
Yeah.
it starts out like basically being the same movie as the first, and it's like, okay, we're just doing this again, and it hits a lot of the same beats, and you're like, oh my god, really? But it turns out that that's intentional because like 50 minutes in, it flips everything upside down, and from there, I think it gets pretty fun. Definitely worth watching.
It's on...
Not amazing, but it's 90 minutes. Pretty
I
good.
think they're both on Paramount Plus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I might watch them. I don't know. I have a subscription. I might as well do something with it.
Right?
Yeah.
I just canceled mine because I was like, I'm never gonna use this, and then that came out, and I was like, oh fuck, I gotta watch this ASAP before my subscription runs out.
I mostly rewatched. I added all of the shark movies on Tubi to a watch list. I've just been watching all that
There's a
shit
lot.
still. Yeah, it sucks. It's not great. I watched Sharkula, the Polonium Brothers movie, and it is terrible. Say all the rest of these shark movies were rewatches. I think just a bunch of shit we've either already covered on the podcast or already talked about. I finally watched the Visual Vengeance Blu-ray for Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell, and unsurprisingly, it slaps. It they did a pretty good job transferring it to Blu-ray, and like the commentary track that I listen to is fun. I don't know if I'll ever listen to the Adam Green one, because why would I? I also watched the Dr. Lamb Blu-ray that Unearthed put out, and it's incredible. Like I'd only seen Dr. Lamb once on just like a shitty, YouTube rip, and like it's so fucking good looking on Blu-ray. It also has like a bunch of pretty cool bonus stuff on it. And then I watched Centipede Horror, which
Oh yeah, that movie rocks.
pretty good. Wanted more centipedes, but there's a lady that holds a bunch of centipedes in her mouth for entirely too long, and it bummed me out.
Oh my god,
She's
it was
Ew.
so upsetting.
she's supposed to be like throwing up centipedes, and she is just throwing up actual centipedes for so long. It's a bummer, and they're fucking huge centipedes.
Big,
I hope that lady,
real deal.
that actress, fucking got enough money that she never had to work again.
You know, she was just doing it for the love of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I love throwing up centipedes. Absolutely.
I watched The Eternal Evil of Asia, which is like this Cat 3 kind of horror comedy about these dudes that go on a bachelor party and accidentally they kind of befriend this sorcerer and help him win a sorcerer battle with another sorcerer, and then the sorcerer's sister falls in love with one of them, so he tries to magically make the one dude fall in love with her as well, but accidentally does it to the three other guys, who then accidentally kill her in like a weird mishap, and then a bunch of weird magic shit happens that includes a guy calling the sorcerer a dickhead, so the sorcerer turns his head into a literal dickhead, and it rocks.
Great.
And then a woman fucks a ghost, and there's a whole scene of her giving a ghost a blowjob, so it's just her basically miming a blowjob, and it's pretty incredible.
Wow.
And then I watched, I think the last thing I watched that wasn't a rewatch was Erotic Ghost Story, which is another Cat 3 kind of, seems like a softcore comedy that then turns into, like, for like the last 15 minutes turns into like a weird sort of horror martial arts movie. It's very strange, but it was pretty good. Mostly I watched it so I could watch the second one, because Anthony Wong from Ebola Syndrome and Untold Story is in it as a demon that fucks somebody with his tail, so now I gotta watch that.
Oh.
Picking that for the next movie on the podcast. Just wait for Katie to quit. No, I'm not picking. That movie's supposed to be actually good, so I can't pick it. Alright, shout outs, Katie.
I'm just going to shout out to bands that I really like that both just came out with a new song. One is Holy Fawn, and the other one is a band called Household. So check them out.
Never heard of them.
You might like both of them.
I've heard Holy Fawn. I've never heard Household.
Yeah, you might like. I think you might like Household. There's only like. Let me think. Let me look.
I'm looking at them right now on Spotify.
They don't have like a ton of music, but their album that came out in 2018, Everything a River Should Be, I really like. And the new song is like fine. It's good, but I like that one album a lot. So I'm just like looking forward to them having a new album.
Yeah, I'll check this out later. What about you?
Early November also released a new song.
Is it good?
It's fine.
Yeah, I feel like the
was,
last couple albums since they got back together or whatever, but like, yeah, this is okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was a song that was like written for The Room's Too Cold, which came out in like 2003. So it was like a previously unreleased song that they finished and put out. So like, it's fine, like if you like that album, if that makes sense. But
what about you, Kit?
I just got my Blu-ray copy of Suburban Sasquatch today.
Hell yeah!
So that absolutely cannot wait to watch that.
Yeah, I gotta dig into that sometime soon. Maybe I'm gonna try to watch it tonight. I have tomorrow off, so I get tattooed and I'm gonna stay up and watch that.
oh yeah.
You should watch it tonight and then change your tattoo to Suburban Sasquatch.
I listened to Twitch of the Death Nerves episode that comes out sometime soon, because I'm subscribed to their Patreon or whatever. Like, they released it early on there, and it was 3 cryptid movies. But they Sam Deegan starts talking about Suburban Sasquatch, and it sounds incredible. It also just made me even more mad that I didn't buy Night of the Demon, because the movie sounds incredible.
So good. So good.
Fuck, what have I been doing? I don't know.
Squatching.
Just squatching. That's what I've been up to.
Shout out Squatching.
Watching.
Shout out 90 Day Fiancé. Finally ending this goddamn long, boring ass season I've been watching, and I can just a bunch of fucking shitty couples that were the absolute worst. I'm glad it's over, and hopefully something fun happens for the next season. What we do next week, Kit? You want to pick something?
If y'all are cool with renting, we can do Vampire Assassin.
I don't even know what that is, but I'm in.
Okay.
It's a 99-cent rental on Prime. It is.
All right. I guess we can swing it.
Awful Blade.
I'm in.
Ooh. I have a hot take because I did not think Blade was very good. So.
There you.
What?
Blade 2 rocks.
I watched it for the first time like right before I moved from California, and I was like, "What is this?"
Oh,
I think
man.
I think I was too late.
I looked this up
we'll
to see if
see.
it was on YouTube for free, and some of the clips on here already. I'm in.
Oh man! All right.
All right. So yeah, that'll be next week. If you would like to support us, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/IPSufferpodcast. There's episodes on there, all that shit. I don't know. Just give us money. Money.
Is this a 2005 movie?
Money me now, please. Probably.
Oh my god. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's the 2005 one.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's got Rudy Ray Moore, briefly.
Oh shit, I'm in.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
It's got a 1.7. It's can't be that bad. It's roughly the same rating as Titanic 666.
We'll see about that.
You could get a DVD for $12 if you like it.
If I had time for it to get to my house,
Nathan's
I would
already
contemplate
buying
it.
it.
It looks pretty fucking terrible.
Just wait until you see what else I've got planned.
Yeah, just wait till my next pick after, I think...
You're gonna have to. You've got some work to do to outdo Osambi.
Oh, no. The first 2 Death Toilets are on Tubi. You think I'm not picking that shit next? So, my next pick, we're doing...
Cannot be worse than Osambi.
Oh, yeah. Ozombi's problem was it was just boring. Like, if they would have thrown in some more zombies, or, like, Osama bin Laden actually doing shit as a zombie, the movie could have been okay. It was just boring. You can get some merch at Store Frontier. Leave us a rating on Spotify, rating and review on iTunes. Tell us how much shark cum is in the ocean, I think is what I said earlier.
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
Yeah.
in liters.
yeah. Specifically, I need to know in liters. It's science corner for next week, so let me know. Follow us on Instagram at Hope You Suffer Podcast. And follow Kit at Kitrification of Blood and Hidden Kitstery. Probably some other blood incantation name on some other social media. With Kit.
If you can fit my name in a song title, it's probably something.
Specifically, blood incantation.
It's very rare I get to work my name into death metal puns. I'm very jealous of everyone who has a name that makes it easier.
Yeah, mine doesn't work either. Nathan or Nate doesn't work.
Everyone else is Nate feet under already.
Yeah. Follow Katie at WerewolfFace and join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/WerewolfFace. You can listen to my other podcast, Nate Kate Movie Club. You can also listen to me on the latest episode of Dawn of the Horror Cast talking about Piranha Double D. It's terrible, but a piranha hides in someone's vagina and eats a dude's dick when they fuck, and it's pretty incredible. So go listen to me talk about that. And also, big shock, I talk about Blumhouse being the worst a bunch. I don't remember why it came up.
Gotta keep it going.
And I was just like, yeah, fuck them. Vampire Assassin next week. Probably gonna be.
Yeah.
I'm hoping like in Colony quality of movie. It better.
I don't know, but we'll find out.
All right. I hope you hit an iceberg, but why?